Jazz singer Tabitha King is a well-known artist in the jazz music scene who has performed with many of the greats such as Keith Washington, Outkast, The Whispers, and the like. Her destination this time is Hanoi. While here, she simply wants to enjoy a country she has never before visited. She also wants to give her best performance for the jazz lovers in Vietnam. Hello Tabitha, thank you very much for spending your time with us today. Now, before we talk about why you're here in Vietnam this time, I would like to know first about the reason that you chose jazz music as your career. Can you tell us why you started playing jazz music?
Actually, I started by listening to some old Dinah Washington, and after I listened to her several times and then actually listened to some Etta James and some Ella Fitzgerald, it was a no-brainer for me. That's what I actually wanted to do.
Now, were those two musicians the biggest inspiration for you in playing jazz music?
No, actually the biggest inspiration would be Whitney Houston and her style of singing, because she had really no vocal training. She actually began in church, same as I. She actually sings from the heart, and when you go to a concert, you don't necessarily go to see all the glitz and the glamour. You're really just going to hear her sing and hear that voice. And that's what I've been compared to a lot as far as the voice. I don't do a lot of dancing or anything of that nature. I'm strictly vocal, and I love what I do, so everything comes from the heart. And I've had no vocal training, so I compare myself a lot with her.
So then, other than musicians, was there anyone in your family who had a great support for you in jazz and your music career in general?
Oh, yes. My mom, actually my grandmother raised me, and she always listened to jazz. That was tradition in our home. She listened to jazz always, and whenever we had company over, she would always put on some jazz, some Etta James, and she would listen to that. I would try to go downstairs and listen, but I was a bit too young. She wouldn't let me, but I could see from the top of the stairs. So my grandmother was a big influence on me.
So at what age did you choose jazz music as your career path?
Not until 2000. I actually started jazz 2000. I was more pop and R&B at the beginning of my career, around the ages of 15. But in the year 2000, I decided to gravitate to jazz because it was really soothing. It was almost like food for the soul. And that was what I wanted to actually add to my repertoire. So jazz became in 2000.
River wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style someday. Oh, maker, heartbreaker, wherever you're going, I'm going your way. Drifters on to see the world. There's such a lot of world to see. We ride the same rainbows waiting round the bend. My huckleberry friend, river.
Now, why did you choose Vietnam as your destination to perform this time?
I've never been to Vietnam. I've traveled Asia. I have traveled different countries as far as Beijing, China, Bangkok, but Vietnam to me was a whole different era that I actually wanted to tap into. And I really feel like music is a universal language, so I really felt like I'd be accepted here, same as I've been in other parts of Asia.
Now, you mentioned that you really look forward to visiting Vietnam and performing here in Hanoi. So can you tell us one of the biggest surprises that you have had here?
What actually surprised me the most is how much it reminded me of home, because of just being around the audience just for the first couple of nights that I was here. They've received the music as if they've known me forever. So it reminds me of home. the way in which you're welcomed, the way in which they appreciate what you do, and they really pay attention, not as if I've been in some other places as to where they're usually maybe doing something else or it's a lot going on in the background. They're really, when they come into the lounge, they're actually there to listen to the music. So that's what reminded me here of home in Hanoi.
Is there a message that you want to convey to the Vietnamese audience?
I do. I want to let them know that music is universal. Whether you do jazz, R&B, pop, you can reach everyone. Everyone is on the same playing field, the same level when you are really singing from the heart. And when you're singing those old jazz standards, such as At Last or Take the A Train, if you're singing that strictly from the heart, it's going to be perceived and it's going to be recognized that way.
Tabitha King is in Hanoi this time thanks to an invite from Hotel Metropole Hanoi, one of the most famous hotels in Vietnam. According to General Manager Kai Speth, her presence will bring about an interesting change in the regular clientele.
With Tabitha, she is a world-traveled artist. She's been around for over 20 years. She's been on records, she's played with many, many bands, and she has a wonderful voice, very strong personality. And when we're looking for a new artist, of course, we want to bring someone who's a little bit different. So we have Tabitha coming from Atlanta. It's a wonderful change of tone of voice. So that was really one of the main reasons.
It seems Kai has achieved his goal. The audience is in love with Tabitha King's performance. New Year's Eve was her first night at the hotel, and some 600 guests gathered for her show. The new year all but forgotten with the sound of her voice.
The first time I heard her singing was on New Year's Eve. She performed by the pool at the hotel. There were more than 600 people gathering around the pool to listen to her. Mesmerized by her voice, they all forgot that it was New Year's Eve and welcomed the new year in silence.
And after 2 nights performing here in Hanoi, would you say from the audience reaction that your message was successfully conveyed to them?
Definitely, because my audiences are already engaged in my show. So I'm a big fan of audience participation, and that's what I've been getting for the past couple of nights. A lot of audience participation with the request and everything that goes along with it.
What is your general feeling about Vietnam so far?
My general feeling is that everything is going to go the way in which I expected it to go, and that is a repeat performance, because I would love to be able to come back. Even though I know I haven't really even started yet, I'm already looking into the future of coming back. That would be my general purpose, because this is such a nice place. It's very calm, it's very relaxed, and at the same time, it's very welcoming. So I'm hoping to be back.
Well, thank you very much, Tabitha, for being here with us on our show today. We appreciate the time that you have spent here in Hanoi, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.